Okay, so it's now really good to have with us someone from the US. We are very happy to have Gary Lam. Good morning, Gary. Gary is head of utility business at Solis, US. He has a degree in engineering from Rutgers University, and he has over 10 years of experience within the solar industry. He is a utility product specialist with expert knowledge of utility scale customers, products, and success criteria. Gary is going to talk about innovative system design for bifacial solar modules using string inverters. Gary, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much and welcome everyone. It's an honor to be here to be able to present. I likely gonna be fairly quick for today. So I see a lot of experts already start talking about the module side. So I'm more gonna talk about the application side, how our product could help utilize the maximum potential of the bifacial. So today, this is the product I'm gonna focus on. It's our 255 kilowatt utility inverter. Like it works best with the bifacial module, and I'm gonna explain to you why. As your bifacial utility inverter, it is a leading string inverter in the market. It is currently the most powerful string inverter worldwide at 255 kilowatt, and a lot of attractive features to boost your bifacial performance, including a super wide MPPT tracking voltage range from starting at 600 volt DC to all the way up to 1500 volt. And also, thanks to the increased yield of bifacial, we will also want to harvest that to get 200% of the DC AC ratio to work with our string inverter. And the most importantly, to squeeze every power out of the bifacial module, we need a lot of MPPTs. This unit is equipped with 14 MPPT, and I'm gonna tell you how this will affect your increase. As we all know, multi-MPPT will help optimizing every string that come in. And as we know, especially when focused on utility project, on a large site, different service have different refractive rate. And panel from one side to the other side will have different gain. And especially when you look at their power curve, the red one is mono, is what not mono, but single on the front side, and the back at the rear side. And we all know bifacial combined gain of front and rear, and therefore the power fluctuations is actually larger than mono unit. And especially when combined with different terrain conditions, the voltage mismatch will be much larger. And if you are using a single MPPT or centralized unit, all the gains from this side of the module will be balanced out by the loss of the other side of module. So by optimizing it, we will use more conversions, more MPPTs to narrow down the differential and mitigate the voltage mismatch. So with our unit, we offer up to 14 MPPTs per inverter. If you remember our inverter 250 kilowatt, 55 kilowatt, that means per megawatt, you will have 56 MPPT. That's over 160 MPPTs for example, a 3 megawatt building block. And this is massive amount of MPPT compared to our traditional single MPPT all central inverter design. And that ensure and guarantee our bifacial yield. This is an illustration how this is compared. If, for example, we take our example as a 3 megawatt block, traditionally with a central solution, all this bifacial module will come into the DC combiner box where all the voltage difference will be neutral and balance out. And then all merge into the central inverter with only one MPPT. So not only the 14 combiner box of 336 strings, everything is merged into one MPPT. Any gain or differences are balanced out at this point. And then we will do a conversion and things. But what difference we will have using the Solis 255 is, instead of combiner box, we will replace it with the 255 string inverter at the exact locations. So on the labor perspective, there's nothing to be changed. Our inverter have 28 strings, 4 more than the traditional 24 string DC combiner box. That means you will install less inverter than DC combiner box. Actually, we eliminate, not only eliminating the DC combiner box, but we also reduce the touch point you have to do. And since the inverter convert everything back to AC and have 14 MPPT in there, every single bit of energy already harvest at the inverter and convert into a much efficient transmission current and AC current, and send it to the transformer. The whole schematic is super easy and straightforward. And plus, we have embedded the PLC called Powerline communication technology that includes the communications into the AC power line, which transmit the strings data, inverter, and grid data to your monitoring system. Using the 255 kilowatt, it will greatly reduce your BOM cost and eliminate DC combiner box, right? And reduce central inverter connectivity hardware costs. Per our guesses mentioned, Bifacial have increased the gain up to 8%. Let's take number from LONGi. That means we could use 8% less module to achieve the same energy yield. Or vice versa, we could also do, depends on how is your financial model or PPA. It could also translate to a certain percentage of inverter reductions. It just depends on how we want the number to look. This inverter do not need DC fuses. This is another things that will reduce your BOM cost. And obviously, it's increased the safety. We have shortened the high voltage DC cable. We have built-in string monitoring. With traditional single MPPT device, it is very hard to build in string monitoring because the system is just not set up to do that. With our technology, we use multi-MPPT. Each MPPT are monitoring the only 2 strings that are plugging in, right? From the string monitoring feature, we extend that to enable IV curve analysis. One of the very important thing of this, very important feature of this inverter, it is DC couple ready. The unit is ready to receive DC battery system. The unit has built-in MC4 connector, so you no longer have to worry about how to do a junction and things. On job site, identical MC4 connector that is used by majority of the module manufacturer. The inverter is rated at IP66 environment rating, rated to withstand harsh environment. Right. It also have built-in O&M platform that really helps you to track the health of your bifacial module. Our inverter no longer is the old inverter that can do nothing but tells you how much I'm receiving and how much I am outputting. Instead, it tells you the whole site condition. It becomes a central monitoring for your job site. It monitors every single string of performance from your module and also monitor your grid status. If the grid status is unstable or what, it will stop itself. And if any string is performing poorly, for example, let's say one string is performing 50% less than any other string, it will just send you an alert telling you might want to check on this string. It has two-way of communication through the power line. Means you don't have to install any COM wire, but you still receive two-way communications. Monitoring device SCADA could send commands to turn off the inverter, turn on the inverter, or perform so-called IV curve, or derate the power. All these smart features are enabled through the power line communications. And one of the very important things is the IV curve scanning. Nowadays, with the new bifacial module, we know, but there's a lot of study going on, but still, we are still not quite sure what is the actual gain and what will be the degradations of my future performance. So enabling IV curve scan will help you and your investor into finding out all this number. On a traditional way, to perform an IV curve test, we would need special tools and software. It takes so long because we're sending people in there, shutting down the power site and testing every single string by removing them and plug it into the IV curve device. It requires trained technicians. The overall cost and the overall energy yield or your annual returns reduced by performing IV curve. So with our integrated smart IV curve scan built into the inverter, you no longer have to send any trained technicians to job site. Yourself or project manager could easily enable that feature at the office from a click of the button. It is built in. To perform 100 megawatt, it's only take about half an hour versus we're really doing 15 days of 100% test, right? We're testing every single string, right? The power generation loss is neglectable because our inverter work with a smaller block, it's 255 kilowatt each. And when we perform the IV curve, we could choose to do that one inverter at a time. So when this inverter is finished, and we move on to the next one. So the power generation loss is neglectable. If assuming we are doing it midday, losing a 250 kilowatt on a 3 to 5 megawatt site, it is with the oversized the DC-AC ratio is. We just can't calculate, there will be any loss. And also this unit is designed for very easy O&M. It has a very efficient cooling design with redundant fan control. The primary cooling method is convection. The whole unit, as I previously mentioned, the whole unit is sealed with IP66 environment rating. That means the entire inverter are enclosed and do not require internal and external air exchange to cool the unit. The unit are mainly cooled by traditional convection cooling, conductive. We conduct the heating generating device to the heat sink on the back. And we have a secondary cooling, which is 5 of powerful fan that will last for 70,000 hour lifespan to blow towards the heat sink. Air will come in from the bottom and move air up to the top, following the nature of the hot air move up and cold air go down. Therefore, no direct air exchange with any electronic components. And this is one of the reasons why this inverter has superior reliable and super easy O&M model. We do not require a constant maintenance on this inverter, just a virtual check on the inverter when you're performing other job maintenance. That's it. The MC4 connector also reduce the O&M because you don't have to do torque check on them. MC4 are designed to be watertight and stay in place. In any cases, if the inverter really went bad, our swap and replace O&M model are very easy because of the MC4 connectors. We enable plug and play install and replacement. Generally experienced, the technician could replace our unit under 20 minutes. Simply disconnect the MC4 connector and then disconnect 3 AC bolts and remove the AC cable, and we could lift the inverter up and replace with a new inverter at the same locations. And all left to do is just plugging in MC4 connectors. So to summarize, our 5th gen inverter technology platform enable high DC-AC ratio, support up to 2:1, also means 200% of the DC-AC ratio. It is ready for DC or AC energy storage coupling. Although it's built-in DC couple connection, it is the first inverter in the market, first string inverter in the market that has native support for DC coupling solution. High yield with 14 MPPT design that will enable you to connect 28 to a maximum 42 strings input. It provides you with 56 MPPT per megawatt of high density tracking, therefore supporting the bifacial module the best we could. Ultra low starting up voltage at 620 volt also maximize the energy harvesting from any bifacial modules. Smart O&M, we built in with string level monitoring and IV curve scan. Therefore, it is low maintenance. Remember, we don't have fuses, we don't have filter or fan, and the unit come with IP66 rating. Other than the 255 model, we also have alternative model. All of this works extremely well with bifacial. If we could see here, our 255 is our flagship product, the largest unit ever built, with 800 volt AC output. The MPPT tracking range is from 600 to 1500 volt. Traditional inverter, if you see, they start usually at 900 volt DC range. We are about 30% wider than our other product, single MPPT product. And our second product is 185 kilowatt. It's identical platform as the 255. We reduce output to 600 volt to support more existing project or existing infrastructure. Same MPPT tracking range, and it support also 1500 volt and 1000 volt DC system. And then we also have a more commercial available 100 kilowatt unit at 480 volt. And the MPPT tracking range is even more impressive. It starts tracking at 195 volt DC, lowest you will ever find on the market. Anywhere we track MPPT from 200 to 1000 volt. I assume you can immediately think of how would that benefit for your bifacial game, especially during early morning and late evening. We will be getting huge energy from the bifacial modules. It is a 480 volt operation voltage. It supports old system. If you have a project that built 10, 20 years ago using a lower voltage modules, we will support them on an upgrade. You could simply replace your existing inverter with this, and it will support all this voltage inverters. Our product has been tested by DNVGL with a 25 years of design lifespan. And this is a summary on the report. DNVGL said that the inverter life models presented were positively impacted by the long and impressive track record that we provided. The useful life projections are at or near the top of the string inverter life projection. So I hope you enjoyed the product. If you're not familiar with who we are Solis. We have been making inverters since 2005. As of today, we have over 200 million in total access, over 1,500 global employees, 200 plus global technicians. Up to today, we have shipped up to last year data, we have shipped 15 gigawatt of global delivery. We are founded in 2005, and we are publicly listed in Shenzhen since 2019, Shenzhen Stock Exchange. Our financials are impressive. Since 2014, our revenue continued to grow at a double-digit rate, a very strong strength for a company at our size. In 2020, we are reporting operation income is 200 million, an increase of 74% on a year-to-year base. And our net profit also increased almost double by 189%. We are showing a strong and healthy growth trend for our sales revenue. And therefore, we enable our second autonomous manufacturer base. We have just finished constructions of this manufacturer this year. I think it will be put into use in Q2, so likely next month or so. In 2019, we only have our old manufacturer with 5 gigawatt capacity, and we have saturated that since 2019. And with the new factory built, we will have a total capacity of 20 gigawatt, ready to join the new utility sector. Some more picture of our new campus, and hopefully by end of this COVID pandemic, I will have the opportunity and the honor to invite all of you to join us at our new manufacturer base. Thank you very much. Is there any questions?
Okay, thank you, Gary. I think we are really getting late. So, but I think I'll take just one question. So, is it possible to have a DC-DC coupled battery storage with this unit?
Yes. As I said, the unit is ready to receive DC coupled storage. So what does that mean is you don't have to convert it. The battery will go through a DC-DC optimizer, and it will go into our inverter at 1500 volt DC, 1500 volt DC. And the inverter will do both conversion for PV and battery.
Okay. There are a couple of questions, but it would be great if you can answer through the chat window, because
no problem. I will do that. Okay. Sure. Thank you, everyone.